Hi everybody. So I wanted to make this video. I'm going to send this out to Dave Acton because we were having a conversation and he was like, no, I think you need to do a video on it's time for everybody to be empowered. It's time for them to wake the tiger within. Like, awake the tiger, awake the tiger. Okay. And I said, that's really interesting because I feel like in the past, whenever I've talked about personal empowerment, no matter how I frame it as just being, who doesn't want to be the best they can be in life, right? Unless you're a total slacker or something. But a lot of people sometimes they think somehow it's against God or the Bible, which I don't know the Bible well enough. I'm a big fan of Jesus. I pray to Jesus every day. But as far as the Bible, I don't know if it says that you're not allowed to be empowered. But I'm pretty sure there's something in there that God wants you to fulfill his mission for you. So I guess that's where awakening the tiger would fit in that respect. And then if we look at it in a whole other way, I'm from Mohawk descendancy. So the American Indian tradition often talks about animals in a different way, that being power animals. And that is akin to your spirit, really. So when they talk about you having a power animal, they are talking about your spirit and what kind of spirit you have. And they actually believe that if a child is born sickly, that it doesn't have a power animal with it, because your power animal gives you strength, according to American Indian history. So it's very interesting too. Another one of their beliefs is that you know who your power animal is. Well, sometimes we're born with them. They believe we're born with one on each side, like guardian angels. And if you want to wonder what that might be, usually your guardian animals, according to the Indian legends, is the very animals you're probably drawn to already. So if you find you really have a proclivity toward, dogs and horses, chances are those are your power animals. But then sometimes you'll have a special power animal come to you, according to the Mohawks anyway. And you can identify that is if you have a dream, and in the dream, an animal comes to you and it shows itself to you in three different ways. So, in other words, you might get a front view of it, you might get a side view of it, you might then get a back view of it or another side of it. But it's definitely three different perspectives of the animal. Even if it's in a flash, it doesn't matter about that or any context. It's just three different sides. I don't know if that equates to the mind, body, spirit, but three does seem to be very important when we anchor anything into the third dimension. So that trilogy, three times with the animal, is supposed to say to you that this animal wants to align its energy with you and share its great qualities with you. There's a great book on this by Andrew Keys about shamanic and power animals. And it's really interesting because if or just to look through it, about animals, because it's about every animal, insects too, and what they have that's unique about them and what their gifts are, and also what might hold them back. So if you were to use that to say, oh, I feel this connection to this animal, you might want to also share their same qualities. So long story short, we're all supposed to have different power animals, but if we talk about it being your spirit, the spirit is enlivened when it lets its power animal play, or if you listen to the callings of your spirit. How many times do you have an idea that you want to do something and then you talk yourself out of it because you say it's frivolous, or you don't have the time, or you put something first, or you don't, have the money? It's always a bunch of no's. Well, what happens is your spirit starts to shut up and shut down because it's not being heard. And the truth is, like, a lot of people were like, not happy that I entered the Alex Jones contest. But to me, it was like a doorway that I had to walk through, and I was so excited about it because I I mean, Alex Jones woke me up, So I know a lot of people have, different perspectives on him and, about me too. But regardless, it enlivened me. So I had to walk toward it. And that's one of the biggest gifts in life. If you can just recognize that your spirit talks to you very simply, or your power animal, however way you want to look at it. And that is through the woe and the no, okay? If you ask yourself, do I want to go out to dinner tonight with my friends? And it's something simple like that, or even more complex. Do I want to get married? Do I want this job? And something inside you goes, woohoo, let's go, yeah. Well, that's your spirit saying, yeah, 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 we want to do this. And then if something inside you's like, no, like putting on the brakes, honor that too, because that is your spirit. Well, I have to counter that because sometimes the woes are your spirit saying, no, don't go this way. But sometimes the woes are your fear. So I think it's really good if you have a big wish or a big something that you want to do, that if you're not sure about it, like the number one thing you should do is put time in between you and the decision. That's a big deal. Time between you and the decision, because almost always you get more information revealed to you and then the decision becomes effortless to make, whereas before you were just laboring, what do I do, what do I do? And also, when it comes to making a decision, if you're finding you're having a hard time and you want it and don't want it both, try scaling the wish down. For instance, my girlfriend wanted to go away and go to college in a different state and take up cooking. And all of a sudden, she started feeling resistance toward that. So, in that case, I would say to her, well, scale it down. How does it feel if you think about going to cooking school in your hometown instead of going away? What kind of feeling do you have about that? Are you still getting resistance or not? Because maybe it's not the cooking school, maybe it's the state, or vice versa. Anyway, just throwing that out there and reminding you to wake the tiger within. You don't want to be a trapped tiger in a zoo, unhappy and not flourishing, not even, as Dave and I were laughing, not even a, a tiger in the San Diego Zoo. Maybe a tiger stuck in the Dayton, Ohio Zoo. No respect to Dayton, Ohio, but come on, folks. If you don't let your spirit run free, then you're the one that's keeping it caged. Okay, everybody, have a great day.